Assalamu alaikum girls, I am Miss Saima Khan and today we will have the 8th lecture from Atomic Structure chapter. In this lecture we will study about the quantum numbers. We have already used this term quantum numbers. What is this quanta? It is basically meaning that it is the packet of energy which is possessed by every electron present in an atom. So it is that the word quantum is derived from the word quanta, meaning packet of energy. Quantum number means different energy levels or different energy numbers over there. Surely that electrons move in the form of waveforms around the nucleus in 3 dimensions. So earlier it was said that whatever electrons are there, they move around the nucleus only in one plane, but Schrödinger explained that it moves in 3 dimensions. When it is moving in 3 dimensions, it means equally from the nucleus that electron has a distance in all the directions if we take it from any side. So whatever the distance between the nucleus and the electrons is there, it is fixed. That is, this is the main achievement of Schrödinger equation, that he gave the distance of the electron from the nucleus and specified that this much is the distance present. In his wave equation, he used different mathematical integers. These whatever values were there, they were basically the quantum numbers, and there are 4 quantum numbers which can completely give us the exact position of an electron. This we can relate as that if we need any address of any person, it's not necessary just only to know the name of that person, rather than we should be knowing the city of that person, that street in which that person lives, and then the house number. From all these we can exactly go to that location where that person is living. So in the similar manner, if we want to find out the position of an electron, only knowing that an electron is present in an atom is not enough, rather than different quantum numbers or energy levels or shell numbers and subshell numbers, or we can say that different positions of an electron and about which electron we are talking about is must. So we need all these 4 quantum numbers in order to exactly know that we are talking about which electron. So first of all we will study the first one, which is principal quantum number, and it is represented by small n. It is also known as shell number or orbit number. Girls, all these quantum numbers are very important from your exam point of view, from your objectives as well as short questions point of view. Principal quantum number helps us in different ways, because we are talking about the shell or the orbit in which an electron is present. There are so many shells, so many orbits over there, so we cannot just get the exact position of an electron just by knowing only one quantum number, that is principal quantum number. For this we need further elaboration so that exact position of an electron can be determined. Now this shell number, what does this shell number tell us? It helps us in the following way, that it determines the size of an orbit. Suppose we are saying that our n is equal to 3. So what does this 3 means? That we are talking about the third shell of an atom. So third shell means that we will be able to know that how much bigger the size of an atom is. Similarly, it can tell us about the distance from the nucleus. If we are saying that we are talking about the third shell, it means that definitely the distance from the nucleus till that electron is quite larger. Higher the number of n, greater or higher will be the energy. That is, as we are moving away and away from the nucleus, the energy increases, and because more and more closer to the nucleus, it is in the negative values. This is one of the things which we have earlier discussed when we were discussing about the Bohr's atomic model and the energy. We were calculating the energy of an atom. There we have discussed that it is negative when it is more closer, and when it is moving away from the nucleus, it becomes in a positive values over there. So these three are the main important points for the quantum number. Now different shells are there, such as if we are talking about the first shell, that is n is equal to 1, it means we are talking about the K shell. Similarly, n is equal to 2, we are talking about the L shell. N is equal to 3, we are talking about M shell. And n is equal to 4, we are talking about N shell, and so on. All these shells have fixed number of electrons present in them. That is, we just can't say that there can be 10 electrons in one atom, first shell, and in another atom there are only 5 electrons. No, all these shells, whatever they are, they have fixed number of electrons present in them, whether it can be any of the atom present. So all these shells have fixed number of electrons present in them. Now what are their numbers? The number of electrons accommodated in various shells or orbits are that K shell, it is fixed, it will be 2. L shell, it is fixed that it will be 8. M 18, N 32, and all the rest have the same fixed 32 value. Now if we are saying that K is equal to 2, it means that maximum it can be 2, minimum can be 1, or it's not necessary that any electron is present. That electron may also be even be knocked out from it. That is, it can be an empty shell. That is, K can be 0, 1, 2. Similarly, if we are saying that it is 8, how is it 8? That a K shell will be present, then the next second shell will be present. It is impossible that if we are saying that L is equal to 8, all the 8 will be present in the first shell. No, it will be that 2 of them will be present in the K shell, or we'll say that first N is equal to 1 has to be present, or K shell has to be present, only then L shell will be possible. Similarly, if we are saying that we are talking about the M shell, then the previous 2 shells must be present before the third shell, and so on. Basically, this follows a rule which is 2n square, and this n basically tells us about the shell number. That is, suppose we say that we are talking about the K shell, and 2n square will be if n is equal to 1. If we just put it as that 2 1 square, it gives 2 into 1 is equal to 2. And if it is about L shell, that is, we are talking about 2n square, that is, if n is equal to 2, then it will be 2 into 2 square, that is 4, which will give us 8. Similarly, for m is equal to M shell and our n is equal to 2, if it will be n, that is 3, it will be 2 into 3 raised to power 2, which is 2 into 9 is 18. Similarly, if we are talking about n shell, that is 2n square, and n is equal to 4, then it will be 2 into 4 square, that is 16. That is 2 into 16 is equal to 32, and all the rest have same. Now from here onwards, we just don't have to put more and more values that n is equal to 5, although it will be 5, but maximum number of electrons which are possible are only 32, not more than 32. This can be one of your objectives, that if our n is equal to 6, suppose, then what will be the maximum number of electrons present in that shell? Don't start putting in this equation and filling it. No, maximum after 18 is 32 and it is fixed. Then comes the second quantum number, which is known as azimuthal quantum number and is represented by small l. Now, what is it? Another name given to it? It is known as subshell or orbital number. It describes about the shape of an orbital, that what type of shape it has. If you remember, in the previous lecture we have discussed about the different orbitals. Now all those orbitals which we have discussed it over there, here are their shapes as well as how many number of electrons would be present in that subshell or orbital number. Now its value is always 1 less than that of the value of n, and the relationship between n and L is that L is equal to n minus 1. That is, 1 less value will be there for the calculation of L from n. Now for that we will just discuss it, that how is it over there. But before discussing, we will just know that how many orbitals are there. Although we have done it in the previous lecture, over here how many maximum number of electrons we will discuss. That there are 4 subshells or orbital number, and along with their abbreviation they are S, P, D and F orbitals. S stands for sharp, P principal, D diffuse, F fundamental. Only these 4 orbitals are present, either any one of them or all these 4 can even be present. So these orbitals have basically the electrons present in them. Now how many maximum number of electrons can be present in all these subshells over there? They are, for S maximum can be 2, for P maximum can be 6, for D maximum can be 10 and for F maximum can be 14. Previously I told you that it can be only 32 electrons present in the shells of n and so on, all those shells over there. Why not more than that? Because there are only 4 subshells present, and in the K shell only 1 S is present. In the P shell, in the L shell there are S and P both present together. In the M shell, S, P and D, all these 3 are present, and in the 4th shell S, P, D and F are present. From 4th onward, that is 5th, 6th onwards, only 4 subshells are present, so their maximum number of electrons are fixed, which are 32. Girls, so many objectives can be asked from all this topic. I have told you that please do study this quantum number for your objectives as well as for your short questions. Now if we talk about their shapes, what are the shapes present? That S is spherical, that is circular, P is dumbbell, D is sausage shape, F is a complicated one. Now suppose say that we are talking about n is equal to 1, or we are saying that we have K shell. Then putting it in that equation, L is equal to n minus 1, then our L is equal to 1 minus 1, that is 0. Now this 0 doesn't mean that there isn't anything present. This 0 is very important from your placing the electrons or from your quantum point of view. Whenever L is equal to 0, it means that we are talking about any of the S subshell. It can be 1s, it can be 2s or 3s. L basically means that we are when L is equal to 0, we are talking about the S subshell. Now this 1, 2, 3 are basically the shell number. If we are saying that it is 1s, it means that our n is equal to 1 and our L is equal to 0. If we are talking about 2s, it means that our n is equal to 2 and our L is equal to 0. that is 2 and 0. Similarly, so on. Now, how many maximum number of electrons can be present in the s orbital? It is only 2, not more than 2. It can be an empty orbital. If you remember in your metric, you must have done the electronic configuration. For putting on the electronic configuration for any atom, we just draw the blocks or the circles. If we just draw for the S and we just draw only one block or one circle, what does it mean? That there is only one subshell, that is S, and it is having only maximum of 2 electrons present in it. That means it can be an empty, it can be having only 1 electron, and maximum of only 2 and not more than 2. Similarly, now suppose say that our n is equal to 2, then we are talking about L shell. Our L, small l, is equal to n minus 1, that is 2 minus 1 is equal to 1. Whenever L is equal to 1, now what does it mean? That we are talking about p orbital, and that p can be 2p, 3p and so on. It means that if we are talking about the p orbital, then before p, s should definitely be present. Then we can move on to a higher energy orbital over there. So it is that before p, s orbital is must. And if we are saying that L is equal to 1, then L will be starting from 0 and then 1. Or it can be, we can say that it is having S and p orbital, both of them. And we have already discussed that S can have maximum of 2, p can have maximum of 6. So if we just put it like this, that maximum number of electrons for this are that L is equal to 0 and 1, that is S and p, that is 2 and 6. Maximum number of electrons for L, which we say R, is equal to 8. I hope so that it is clear and you girls don't have any problem in it. Now suppose say that we have n is equal to 3. We are talking about M shell, that is L is equal to n minus 1, and our L is equal to 3 minus 1, which is equal to 2. Now what does this 2 means? That we are talking about the d orbital, that it can be 3d, 4d and so on. If we are talking about d orbital, it isn't possible that only d is present, orbital is present. No. Before that, lower energy orbitals must be present. Before that, a higher energy orbital would be present. That is, if we say that d orbital is present and it is having 2 lower energy orbitals, which are s and p orbitals, it means that L is equal to 2, then L is equal to 0, 1 and 2. That is, from the 0 number we will start until that number which we are discussing, that is for D2. It means both s and p orbitals are present, so maximum number of electrons present in this d orbital would be 18. Now how is it 18? That if we say that we have 0, 1, 2, that is s, p and d orbital, that is 2 plus 6 plus 10 is equal to 18. In this way, and they can ask you that prove how is it 18. So you have to solve it all like this if it comes in your short questions. Next comes as magnetic quantum number. For magnetic quantum number, if we say that we are giving so many names, other names to these quantum numbers, so magnetic quantum number is represented by small m, and it is also known as suborbital number or degenerate orbital levels. Degenerate means that when we provide magnetic or electric field and all the orbitals whatever are present, if they come at same energy level, all of them in the same energy level, they are known as degenerate orbitals. So it is also magnetic quantum number is also known as suborbital number or degenerate orbital level. Basically it tells us about the magnetic field. That's why it is named as magnetic quantum number. So it means that we have to apply magnetic field and see what is the effect of magnetic field on that electron. So for that it is related to this magnetic quantum number is related to azimuthal quantum number, or we can say that it is m is equal to +1, +2 and all those values till 0, and then we write the minus L values. It is not 1, it is L. Okay, so it is m is equal to +L up till 0, and then it is minus L and so on. Now for this explanation we'll just I will explain you that how we will do on the next slide. So if suppose say that our L is equal to 0, means that we are talking about the s orbital, m would definitely be 0 too, because L would be 0, m is equal to 0. It means that an s or spherical shape orbital is present. As it is spherical and we are applying magnetic field, it cannot be deflected to any of the directions, and it means that an s orbital is spherical in shape because it is not deflected in any of the particular directions on placing in an electric or magnetic field. Particularly we use magnetic field, we can use electrical field also for the placement or for finding the exact position and the shape over there. Suppose say that our L is equal to 1. Now what does it mean? That we are talking about the p orbital. Then our m will be, first we have to write all the plus values and then 0, and at the end all the negative values. That is +1, 0 and -1. What does this P means? That it is deflected in 3 directions on placing in the magnetic field. Now what is this 3? If you remember in the previous lecture we have discussed that p orbital, whatever is over there, it is having a dumbbell shape and it is along axis px, py and pz orbital. So this 3 directions, deflection in 3 directions basically means that all these px, py and pz orbitals are present. But suppose say that you have removed the magnetic field, then all of them would be in the same direction or would be in the same energy level and would be known as degenerate orbitals. If P splits into 3 degenerate orbitals in the magnetic field, if our L is equal to 2, what does it mean? That we are talking about the d orbital, and our m will be +2, +1, 0, -1 and -2. It means that we are talking about d orbital. If you remember in the previous lecture we have discussed that d has 5 orbitals: dxy, dxz, dyz, dx square minus y square and dz square. All these 5, when we even draw it for our electronic configuration, we draw 5 blocks or 5 circles. What does it mean? That it is placed, when magnetic field is placed, then different energy levels are formed, and these different energy levels are splitting of the d orbital in 5 degenerate orbitals due to the magnetic field. Suppose say that our L is equal to 3, then it is f orbital and our m will be +3, +2, +1, 0, -1, -2 and -3. Now girls, in your objectives they can ask you that if our small l is equal to 3, it means which orbital is present, s, p, d or f. So you should be knowing if our L is equal to 3, then it is f orbital. And how many directions or degenerate orbitals would be formed if we place it in the magnetic field? They are 7. as we draw the 7 blocks for the f orbitals and start filling it. F shape is quite complicated, so as such drawing is not possible. The last which is there is spin quantum number and is represented with small s. The word spin quantum number tells us that something is revolving or is spinning around something. Now we say that all the atoms present in an atom revolve around the nucleus. All the electrons whatever are present, they revolve around the nucleus, but at the same time they revolve or move around their own axis also, just similar to that of an earth, that it revolves around the sun as well as on its own axis. In the similar manner, electrons revolve around the nucleus as well as on its own axis. So spin quantum number is there, that is small s, and it describes the spin of an orbital. Goudsmit was the scientist who gave that electron while moving in an orbital around the nucleus also rotates or spins on its own axis. Now in which direction it rotates depends that whether it is clockwise or anti-clockwise. It may be 50% clockwise, that is minus half, and is represented in an arrow upward, and 50% anti-clockwise, positive half, and represented as downward arrow. These are important objectives which they can ask you. And rotation of an electron in its own axis is known as self-rotation. This spinning of an electron is associated again to the magnetic field and magnetic moment. If you just see the diagram, that we have a magnet placed with north-south pole, and the electron whatever is present is moving anti-clockwise, that is S is equal to plus half, and it is moving in clockwise, that is minus half. These diagrams are also very important. All this quantum number topic is very important from your objective as well as short questions point of view. I hope so that it is clear and you don't have any problem. Thank you, girls.